to learn how you can add rate limiting to your functions in JavaScript? Let's check it out. Here we have an example of a function called API. This mimics, say, an API call. And then this function has a variable memory, which is a map. And we're going to use a closure. So we will return a function which has closure over this memory variable. So even after we create this API function, this inner function, after we call it each time, always has access to this variable as if it were a global variable. This function can manage the state of that. So in the code, we call a specific URL, say /test, and first we're going to check if our memory has the URL. And if it does, we'll say blocked. We can only call every 5 seconds. So otherwise, if this is its first call within the last 5 seconds, we're going to create a timeout ID, which is set to a timeout, which runs for 5 seconds. And once it's done, it simply clears the current timeout and deletes the URL from the memory, opening it back up for future calls. See, we log that the URL was called with its ID, and then we set the URL with the timeout ID to keep that running in memory. So if someone tries to call it within that 5-second span, it will block it. So let's test it out. Here you can see we successfully called test our first time, and then we tried to call test once again, and it was blocked. You can only call it every 5 seconds. And then we called test 2. So yeah, that's a simple example of how you can rate limit your API calls or any type of function using closures. And yeah, thank you for watching. Code Bit out.